Welcome. Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana, and today I'm here for my Friday tarot chat. And as with last week, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my low buy, no buy year, some of the things I learned, and how this low buy, no buy year has affected my work and the way that I have been using decks in my library and so forth. So I want to welcome you to today's chat, and please feel free to chime in at any time. And yeah, let's just really get real here today. I decided probably before 2022 even began that it was time to make a drastic change in my life, and in the trend in the tarot community to acquire. And this was it's so fascinating because there are so many beautiful decks that are created every single year. The number of artists that abound in the tarot community is really quite stunning, and there is definitely a sorry about that, a fear of missing out when there's just something really beautiful or precious that appears to come onto the market. And it happened just just yesterday, on Tuesday, when I was doing live readings on Jonathan Daly's channel. And two of the readers on that particular channel were using a really gorgeous deck. And I know that I had looked at it a couple of times, and I just had to say to myself, there's a gift. There's a gift in saying no, and there's a gift in not having that. So I thought today I would share with you some of the things that have come up for me in this slow buy year, and let you know indeed that there were some significant changes. I had intended to have a bunch of numbers for you, but I didn't quite get that done when I was working on it a couple of days ago. So welcome. I know Janine popped in ages ago. So hi, Janine. I don't know if you're still here. And Dee and Donna, welcome to you. Dee says, I hope not to be tempted into buying this evening because I've been quite restrained in 2022. You will not be tempted into buying this evening. That is not the exact opposite of what's going on here today. And Donna, yes, JOMO is real, and it's something that I have really, really embraced. Particularly, I think it's always been a way of being for me, but I think there's something about this year and the commitment I've made to myself that it needs to be a really good decision. And you said here, I always ask myself, will this add anything new or special to my tarot decks or readings? It's a good question. It's a really good question. So the joy of missing out. I did a video sometime back, and I believe I've linked it in the description box below, about JOMO versus FOMO, and what that brings and what that gives you. And I think primarily what it does is it gives you space. It gives you space. It gives you space to breathe. It gives you space to do other things. It gives you space to enjoy things that you've had and never touched. There's so many benefits from it. And there's also the space from the financial worry as well too, because that's very real. It's not a cheap hobby at all to be building one's tarot and oracle library. And I definitely want to acknowledge that it is very real. So just to give you an indication, these are approximate numbers, and I don't know how this sits out there with anybody else in tarot land, But in 2021, I purchased at least 47 tarot decks. 47. And in 2022, I purchased 12 or 13. So that is a huge difference for me. I didn't get around to counting oracles, but I know that I purchased very few oracles this year, maybe one or two. And so I'm kind of proud of myself. And as I go through the other points that I want to share with you, I think what's really important is that this continues on. Dee says, phew, I don't own 47 decks of any sort. As this goes on, my intention is to even purchase less. So if I purchase 12 or 13 this year, I can see in 2023, maybe 2 or 3 decks, because what I've picked up on is kind of significant. So let's go on. I didn't have the time to make banners for all of these points, but the next one is I have enough. I have more. I have more than enough. I have so many decks that I still have a call that I would like to do. There are some that definitely don't resonate with me. One that was gifted. There's a few that were purchased out of FOMO, and I still haven't gotten rid of them. So it's really it's serious business. I have enough, and I don't need anything else. And I can't imagine that there is a deck that I actually need. Now, it's funny, I did make a couple of regrettable purchases this year, and I don't know if you can call them regrettable. The second one for sure. This one is still in question. I was just really intrigued with this deck, and this was a very recent purchase. I loved the paper on the box. I loved the colors. The colors just felt so me. I love the simplicity of the deck. And I did a walkthrough of this the other day. And as I'm going through it, looking at it, I'm thinking, is this any different from the Wild Unknown? Does it offer something that other pip decks don't have? And this was a really interesting card, and I think I will continue to explore this, but the truth is I didn't need it. I didn't need it at all. And what my inquiry with this deck did was sent me to do a little research of Ari Weisner's Etsy shop, and I ended up ordering the Trinity Tarot. So it is a rabbit hole. It really is a rabbit hole. And I have to say, and I'm going to state this loud and clear, photorealistic decks, I don't like them. I don't like photorealistic decks. I don't like photo collage. It's just not a genre that I'm interested in. They don't work for me. And I buckled in and I purchased the Super Lunaris this year. Mostly because of that Hierophant card. I don't even have it on the table. I will never use that deck. I don't need that deck. I don't like those kind of decks. I don't like those, the reality of the faces. I need art. And I knew better. I said no to that deck no fewer than 5 times. And yet it came up again and again, and people were using it on their channel. And so I ordered it. And I will sell it. I will get rid of it. I will get rid of it for sure. Okay. Donna asks, do you ever feel overwhelmed by these numbers of decks? That is more my problem than FOMO. No, actually, I don't, because what I have done with my decks is put them into hmm, I kind of pigeonhole my decks. Um, I put them into categories. There's certain ones that I use for teaching, the ones that are more rider weights that are Pixie's artwork cloned. Um, there's a group of decks that I use for past life readings. There's some that feel particularly seasonal. I have a couple of summer favorite decks. And so what I've done is put them into, yeah, I've pigeonholed them. And that makes it a lot more manageable. A lot more manageable. I have a medium-sized collection of Marseille decks that I will eventually get back to, and I have no intention of selling those because I would love to return to amping up that project, amping up the use of those cards for sure. Yeah. Hi, Laura. Welcome to you. As you eagerly wait for your Somnia Tarot to arrive. I can't even picture that in my mind, and I'm not even going to go and check it out. So, yeah, I've come a long way. I would be writing that down in the past and making sure I check that out. I know I have looked at it before. And and I'm sorry you have COVID. I know sometimes it hits very, very hard. Other times it's more gentle. And so, however it has come to you, rest well, take good care of yourself. That is the most important thing. And if you don't have anybody to bring you clear soup and tea and look after you, just be really gentle with how much you do. Yeah. Let's go here to Laura's comment. I thought long and hard on the stack as I have severe sleep issues since my husband died. That's another big shift for you energetically. I'm hoping this helps me overcome some of my sleep anxiety as I try to fall asleep. I think path working might really help with that. So if you have never done path working, choosing decks where you kind of get lost in the artwork and you can travel. You know, when I think of path working, I really think of that scene in the original Mary Poppins movie. And I'm sure it happened in the books too. I don't think I ever read the books, where the children and Bert and Mary, they jump into the sidewalk chalk paintings and they go off on an adventure. And to me, that is what path working is. And it's a really beautiful thing to sit there and to stare and to blur your vision and to kind of make a tarot card three-dimensional, and to fall asleep with it in your hand. It's a lovely, lovely practice. Or if you're able to sit up in a more of a meditative position too, that works as well. Yeah. So yeah, I have more. I have more than enough. And I think that the realization that less is more, there's something to this. And what I have not, so over here, I have a rack. I have a rack of decks that I have out that I work with, right? That I use for readings and things like that. Client readings for when I'm teaching and different things. There's a pile of books here. There's another stack of decks here. And I have not been rotating the decks, I feel, as much as I did in previous years. So what less is more can mean in this regard is that I am in having fewer decks on my stand and on my table, that I'm getting a lot more out of using decks for a longer period of time or in more depth. And I can really expand on that, because if you saw the video I did on Wednesday, that was the mass market decks that I did. And this year I have done several tarot deep dives on my channel. And those deep dives have forced me to spend a lot more time with the same deck multiple times a week as I study it and prepare for the videos. So I really have gotten to know more about fewer decks this year, and that's been really beautiful. Mhm. Let's go to Dee's comment here. I'm very tempted to buy the Symbolic Soul Tarot, but that will have to wait. Yes, yoga, Tai Chi, meditation. I have guided meditations on my channel if you search them. Yeah, I might even have one for insomnia. And Yoga Nidra is an amazing practice for that. It is for sure. All right, so the next thing that, just let me type it in. I don't know what words to find here. I need to think around this. And this is something else I want to expand on. And so this is, let's say, creativity abounds. I don't know, let's say that. With purchasing fewer decks, I've been able to attempt some creative projects. And so one of those creative projects was taking my soul cards 1 and 2 and combining them into a tarot deck. Now, this is not something I ever would have had time for had I been purchasing decks as rampantly as I had in the past. And so I did a video on this, and I shared, and now I did write on them. I don't know if you can see. It's hard to see. I put the element in one corner and the number in another. And what that did also, besides give me an opportunity to hold and care for and really consider these cards, was some really soulful time for me to be with these cards and to do a deep inquiry and also have some fun. I mean, it's not easy to put together, to take these cards, to take 2 decks and to pare it down to 78 and have those 78 cards fit into the framework of the tarot deck. But it's great, and I've been using it, and I find that that was amazing. And this one I haven't used so much, but I did a similar project with the Alleyman Tarot and choosing my 78 for the Alleyman. And this was a bit problematic, because as I did this, I found some cards and some very stunning card backs, and I ended up ordering a couple of the decks that are in that are in the Alleyman Tarot. But this is it's a great project, and I know that I just saw a Donna switch some cards comment. I need to switch some cards in this deck, and that's something that I will go back to. So I am going to leave it out. And I think one of the things I'm going to do is, I got a couple of things I want to share with you. So I will. The decks that I am culling, I may take my favorite cards out of those decks that I'm culling and put them into a pot for the expansion of the Alleyman Tarot so that I can have cards that I really like in there, because there's a few of them that I don't resonate with. So yeah, I've got more to say about creativity, but let's go to, so here. And then I see that you switched. I just switched a couple of cards over last week, and that's after working on this for a month or so. Yeah, it's an ongoing project for sure. And I think you would have to have a reading and see something in a card, and then you would realize that indeed it didn't feel like, where did I put it? It didn't actually feel like the designation that you gave to it. And some of them I stand strongly by. I mean, to me, this is such a beautiful Page of Pentacles energy. I see, well, this is, could be a person really of any age, but I do see a youthfulness, and I love the, to me, which looks like a leaf imprint on the card, and the care and the care and the love, and it's almost as if there's you can see the light and the energy building in the hands. It's beautiful. So yeah, great project if you haven't done it. And Dee's going to take this on as well too. So yeah, it's a great project. I can't say enough about that. There are probably 5 or 6 decks that I would love to trim and get really creative with some of them, cutting them into shapes and changing the shape of the deck and different things like that. So it's really important that I don't purchase many more decks, because I need time to do that. So yeah, so this no low buy year has really given space for creativity. Okay. Donna. Oh my God. I was just debating him versus the little guy sitting on the hillside. Yeah. The little guy sitting on the hillside. I won't take the time to go through. I don't know where I put that card if I used it. It's not etched in my brain yet. Yeah, I think that is, it is. It's important that the experience is fluid. It really is. Okay. So yeah, so creativity abounds, and this would also include taking time to make bags and pouches for decks that don't have homes. So they've come from large boxes and they need a home. So that also is part of this less is more, because there is so much to be done, right? So much to be done. All right. So the next thing that this space has given me, and that has to do with the expansion of my Lenormand practice. I have always loved practicing with Lenormand. I I find it absolutely fascinating, and I love it so much that for years I was using I'm just trying to think of the name of the spread, um, the Romani spread. It was a spread that I used with tarot for a long time. I don't use it anymore because I never have time to read that many cards with somebody. But I enjoyed the Lenormand series so much, and had I been bringing in as many decks as I have had in the past, and I'm sure some years I'd purchased more than 47 or close to that number, I wouldn't have really enjoyed. I wouldn't really have had enjoyed that series. Um, and it's brought more. It's definitely brought more. And spending 33, 36 weeks with you doing my Lenormand series also brought new insights into Lenormand. And I have been reading with Lenormand for many years. And it, and I don't know if you've noticed, like I often refer to it and I say something to the effect of, hmm, okay, now if we look at this through the lens of Lenormand or something like that. So it, it, if you, so what I guess what I'm saying here is if you've always wanted to learn runes or oghams or chicken bones or something, that then stop buying tarot decks so you have time, because it's true, less is more. You have enough, and JOMO is real. Okay, these are all really important things that I've learned. Okay, so here I want to say that I have had time to work with decks in new ways. Yeah, I've had time to work with decks in new ways. And one that comes to mind is, and I did it with you, I think, for 3 weeks or maybe more, was to do the tarot affirmations. And this is something I believe years back, I think Benabel Wen actually has tarot affirmations in her big holistic tarot Bible. Um, and there's also a tarot deck that I brought forward during that. I think it was Jillian's new playing card deck, actually, that has tarot affirmations. And this is something that I had totally forgotten about. So, Donna, I'm reading your comment. Oh my goodness. Um, I don't know what I was saying. This is the trouble with it. Sometimes, I'm a little tired and I read the chat and then I forget what I was saying. Um, oh yeah, so the Tarot Affirmation Project. So this was a really good reminder of something that a practice that I love and I think is an important part. It's actually a really good skill as a reader to do this as a way to conclude a reading. So I really believe that there's different parts to a reading if you're reading for others, and the opening, right? The setting the scene is really important, and as important is the closing of the reading. Just sorry, I need to sip. And that there can be several reasons for that. Some people just don't leave. They go on, and it's very hard sometimes to wind up a reading. But I also think importantly to summarize the reading or to have a way to leave the client or the querent feeling good, feeling, okay, I've got this. This was worth my while. This was worth my money. It Completing with a tarot affirmation is a wonderful thing to do. And you can also do that with a deck that you are giving away. And what you can do is shuffle a deck, pull a card from it, and then state your tarot affirmation I want to say, in the mood of the reading. It's not going to be something totally out of the left space. It'll be connected to the content of the reading, and then give them the card to take away with them. So yeah. And so that was a great little mini series. All right, I will go to your comments. And sewing is so wonderful. I love sewing. I love cutting. I love doing the planning, the measuring, the preparation. It's really fun. Really fun. And you know what I wish more than anything is I hadn't given away. I had about, um, I think 3 wedding kimonos that I brought back from Japan. And over the years, I gave them away or I sold them. And I'm so sorry because I actually would have cut them up to make tarot bags. I love the ones that I have one here. I love the ones that the Irish company made. What's the Irish company? The one that has the fancy decks with the cold stamping. This is one of their bags. And I purchased it actually as an inspiration to get actually maybe go and get some upholstery fabric as well too to make some bags like this. So that really touches on the creativity aspect as well as the whole time thing. Let's go here. So Donna asks, not to mess with your low by year, but have you seen the 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 night? What does that mean? The world of the night, Lenormand? I haven't seen it. Mondnak. I haven't seen it. But I will write it down. Now I have a confession to make. Mond means world. Knock means night. I will look it up. The Monnaklini. In 2022, I purchased 0 Lenormand decks. And I think before 2022, I had 17 Lenormand decks, I think. And in 2023, I purchased 9. I purchased 9 Lenormand decks. So, Donna, I will look at it, but odds are I will not. I will not. And I may also release some of my Lenormand decks because now, in going back and putting so much time into that series, I have, I'm going to comment more on work with decks in new ways. There I go again, losing my train of thought. It will come back. The Lenormand decks. So I've become very, very particular about what I want on a Lenormand card. It must have playing card insets or clear, visible playing card associations on it for sure. It must have numbers. I'm not interested in anything cute or modern or anything like that. One of the ones I purchased that I really love is the Da Vinci Lenormand. That one rocks my world. So I will be culling a few Lenormand decks as well too, because they just didn't do anything for me. But I will look at that one. Okay. All right. Work with decks in new ways. So I was talking about taking the decks that you are culling, and instead of selling them, well, there's a couple things you can do. Apparently, there are websites where you can sell single cards, and that is something I actually might do. Because that also is minimal postage, no wrapping. That's easy peasy. So that's something that I'm interested in doing. But also taking out my favorite cards and using those favorite cards to add to my Ally Man. So that's 1. 2. Another one would be I have many bags of, when you get a tarot deck and there's extra cards, and sometimes there's a title card or the creator sends you a beautiful postcard. Well, I have lots and lots of that stuff. And so what I'm going to do with the extra cards and everything is to make, I want to do, I don't know what you call it, it's for bibliomancy. I want to make a book. I want to make a book with all of those special things in it. And I've actually been looking and trying to decide what kind of binding I want on the package that I'm making it in. Because I don't want something that sits with the binding like this and then the book is like this. I need to figure that out. So I'm definitely going to do that. Okay, off the hook. No playing card associations. Yay. Thank you for the translation. Night of the moon. Okay. I purchased, regrettably, don't really love the artwork, the professional size low scarabeo Rider-Waite Smith, because I was going to an event and I was going to use it walking around at the event. It's impossible to shuffle. It's horrible. So what I'm doing with it is I am drawing cards, and I am so everyone who did the certification exam for Tarot Foundations, I drew a card for them and putting it in the envelope with their um, certificate. So that's one thing I'm doing. So I'm giving away more cards. I have um, I think working with decks, one of the things you can do is give cards away. So not only selling single cards, but you could actually have a little oracle deck. I have a bunch of them. They're in my basket, which is down there, and I either um, do a wash at the end of a reading and let the client take a card, or sometimes I'll have them in my basket and I'll just walk into a shop and I'll stick them in random places. I've seen people do that with money and things as well too, but sometimes I leave a card for somebody to find. It's really nice. Yeah. So hi, Antoinette. Welcome. All right, let's go on. Oh, this is kind of yeah. I people send me things. I'm really lucky. I'm really fortunate. Sometimes people send me decks. Sometimes they send me things they've made or knit. They send me lovely cards, a little painting that they've done. And it's really, I've always been touched by it. No matter how busy I am, I'm always touched by it. But what I think I've realized is that many of the decks that I have received as gifts, um, because it wasn't my intention to purchase them, I don't put energy into them. And so this year, this low buy year, has given me an opportunity to really put energy into the decks that have been gifted to me and to work with them. And it's, one of them is this deck, right? So this one was gifted to me, and it was, I find it very touching that this lovely soul thought that, or knew, or knows what I like, and it was just such a perfect match. I probably I do. I have a few decks that have been given to me in the past that I didn't get around to working with, and so I don't know them. I still appreciate the gift, but there's this, it's so important, right? This space. Without the space, we can't yeah, without the space, and maybe this is what you were getting at, Donna. You asked me, or was it Dee that asked me, that Do you get overwhelmed with all the decks that you have? And the truth is, sometimes I get overwhelmed with gifts because I feel guilty that I can't use them. And that's terrible. That's really terrible. Yeah. And so I'm very, very cautious of purchasing anything new this year. So yeah, so I don't know what we're at now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's 7. Okay. I've touched on some other concepts as well too. And the the thing is that, uh-oh, I lost you. There you go. The thing is, even being selective, I've still made mistakes. And I don't know what I could put on a banner for that. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to be discriminating. And I gave an example of, I'm not sure that I should have purchased transient light, and also I knew better. Super Lunaris was a mistake. So even in a low buy year, it's still possible to get sucked into FOMO, or to make a purchase mistake. And I assumed that I would like the artwork on the professional size low Scarabeo RWS, but nope, it's not something that I want. It's not something that I want to use. So yeah, so no matter, regardless of whether it's low buy or you have no restrictions placed on yourself, I think we can still all make mistakes. We're all human. All right, so that's what I'm going to say for this particular topic. I'm human. I'm human. I still make mistakes. There we go. There we go. I still make mistakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8. Okay. I think it's hard to totally be sure of a deck until you actually hold it and use, yeah, and you feel its energy. When I was gifted Pagan Otherworlds. Pagan Otherworlds is an absolutely gorgeous deck. I thought about it and thought about it, and people raved about it, and I had no idea. And it was gifted to me, got it in my hands, connected with the artwork, and it was like, wow. So sometimes it works both ways. You might have a deck at a distance and think, no, it's okay, I don't need that deck. So I think there's a couple of considerations there that are, yeah. So there's a deck that's out there, and I'm trying to think of what it is. It's a newish deck. It's got beautiful watercolor artwork. And when I was on Jonathan's channel on Tuesday and 2 of them were using it, I thought, oh my goodness. Now it kind of looks like, I guess it kind of looks, maybe, the watercolor spills out into the border. And if one of you type the name into the chat, I would know what it is. And I do like some of the, yes, the unfolding path. And that's the one, Antoinette, thank you. And if there's a few cards in the deck that I definitely like, but I know in looking at it that I definitely have decks that scratch that itch. Yeah. Okay. So what else has this low buy year given me? I just want to say that it's been a gift of time. And I guess I kind of started with this, right? It's given me time and space and freedom. And I don't think that I would have returned to the Thoth Tarot to do my Thoth inspired series if it were not a low buy year. Um, so with 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 doing the preparation for this particular series, um, it takes a lot of work um, to look across other Thoth inspired decks like the Tabula Mundi. The literature is really dense for the Thoth Tarot, and there is so much symbology in these cards. And I think it's funny, and I know I've said this before, the whole idea that weight intentionally left symbols off the cards, weight intentionally mixed things up, put things in different orders because he was loyal to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Whereas when Crowley got around some 30 something years later to create his deck with Lady Frida Harris, the two of them put their heads together and said, oh, come on, let's just put it all in there. And if they figure it out, it's okay. And we'll tell them, we'll kind of tell them what it's about. Um, it's such a different take on the tarot. And the joy also that this has given me in the number of aha moments has been incredible, because it all started for me with this deck. And I go back to, oh gosh, many years ago, and I remember holding this deck in my hand. And I remember a few of the experiences and the readings and where I was doing the readings and my response to the cards. And I don't know why it ever actually got put away. And I think it has to do with purchasing the Robin Wood and then going down another path. Um, and for, from time to time, I would use a Thoth Tarot, but I never really took the time to dive so deeply into the cards. And it's been amazing to have the time to do this, and the time. So listening, I have enjoyed so many podcasts, different vlogs on not just on Apple Podcasts, but different places as well too. And the not watching, there's kind of some very esoteric tarot out there as well too on YouTube, and it's given me space and time to watch other channels too. Dame Fortune's Wheel is the deck that grabbed me way over and above its artwork. Dame's Fortune Wheel. Well, I will write that down. Thank you. Dame's Fortune Wheel. And there's, so I guess recognizing that my time is precious. And yeah. And so lastly and mostly, which I have already stated multiple times, is that 2023 will be like affirmations to myself. 2023 will be an even lower no buy year. For all of the reasons previously stated. There is absolutely no need for me to purchase more decks. Ooh, based on Atea's Miners. Yeah. I did purchase the the Lo Scarabeo version. And unfortunately, I should have held out and waited until the Il Menengello version came back in print because I hate the paper. It's all shiny and don't like it. So what I might do is try to sell that one and wait for the Il Menengello version to come out and see if I can get my hands on that. Because I want to have one Solabusco and a Tea deck. I have one already. I think sometimes when we're doing historical research or when I'm teaching, I need to be able to have these cards at hand. Oh, Donna, that's a good one. I will appreciate and use my existing decks even more in 2023. I like that. That is beautiful. Yeah. Yes, this is a for sure. Now, those of you that don't follow me on Facebook, I go live on Facebook most Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific. And what I've been doing on the Facebook channel is I've been using an oracle deck for a significant amount of time. I'm using the Red Seeds Oracle now. I'm going to use it for 33 weeks. We're somewhere around 25 weeks as inspiration for my chat on Wednesday nights. And this has taken me deep into some rather challenging oracle decks. We did a long stretch with Kim Kranz's archetype and using that. So what I'm doing is just simply drawing a meditatively shuffling and drawing a card for the people in the Facebook group, and then using that as inspiration for my chat. And the synchronicities with timing and everything have just been absolutely brilliant. So yeah, so this space has been really nice. Yeah. Yes, it is too late for you. Ooh, this is a good question. I think I have three. I have two or three. And how did this all start? It had to do with Euclidean geometry. It wasn't it? No, it didn't. There was a bit of a rabbit hole, and it started with a deck that used Euclidean geometry. And I started doing some research, and I purchased a couple of decks. I think it was the Crystal Tarot. And then I went and got another deck and started watching somebody's video that referenced Oswald Wirth's decks and how there was a connection there. And so I did. So I did purchase an Oswald Wirth deck or two. So those are in another pile for another year. I think it might have been Kelly Fitzgerald. I think you're right. So I will, in some unknown time, but I'm absolutely fascinated with Euclidean geometry and how that plays into numerology, because I've always used numerology in my readings, and I love the unpacking of the numbers and how that comes back together. Like looking at the 3 on top of the 4 is a very different experience than looking at the 4 on top of the 3. And I was doing a spread, I think it was in class a couple of weeks ago, so I do a 7 spread in class just to try to teach the whole idea of 4 plus 3 equals 7. And I switched the spread and I put the square, the 4, on top of the triangle, almost like some kind of, there's a lot of modern buildings that are based on some great seismic engineering. And sometimes you'll see like a quirky foundation with the building on top, right? But it felt so awful to have the square on top of the triangle, because it felt like a lot of weight, right? A lot of weight bearing down on the creativity. It was really interesting. So I've been working with ideas of yeah, unpacking the numerology. So there are so many things to study. I have a bazillion playing card decks as well too, and I don't know how to read cartomantically because the meanings are completely different. So when I do read with playing card decks, I tend to bring in tarot and Lenormand associations and just do it in my own way. But I would also love how to read. Um, I would also love to learn how to read cartomantically because I think those historical meanings informed some of the meanings, right, of the Golden Dawn. Yeah. Um, so against the numerological meaning of the Forest Foundation, it's it's not easy. It's not easy to have so many potential layers at one's fingertips when doing a reading. And I think one of the things that students of tarot struggle with is they don't know what layers to bring in. Um, how do you know whether to speak to the numbers or the colors or the facings or the astrology, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. My best advice is to, you know, you want to go with what comes to you first, and it might not be something you've ever talked about in a particular deck, and I love it when that happens. Yeah, yeah. So thank you. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I hope this inspires someone out there in Tarot Tube land to consider a no buy, low buy year because it's really good. It's really awesome to have the freedom that it gives. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see some of you on Tuesday. Take good care. Namaste.